Okay, I've been through an elaborate spreadsheet-based process to determine the aluminium tube that I need for the mast. In the SCAMP forums, I discovered through various research that what you really want is a tube of 69.85mm outer diameter, 1.65mm wall thickness. It should be made out of 6061 T6 alloy. I can't get such a tube. Apparently 6061 T6 alloy is super common in the US, but not particularly common in Australia. At least my research couldn't turn up many places that would do it, and none of them had the tubes in that size. The alloy that's most common in Australia is 6060 T5, which is not as strong. Its tensile strength is actually like not quite half of 6061 T6, so problem. But the mast of the SCAMP is supposed to be around 7 kilos-ish. My wooden mast was like 7.5. The aluminium mast that is recommended on the SCAMP forums is about 4 kilos. So there's a bit of room to play around. So I created an elaborate spreadsheet where I could tweak the inner and outer diameters, get cross-sectional areas, and figure out the bending, what was it called? The bending stress. When a boat heels, there's a certain amount of bending stress on the mast because the boat wants to come up to vertical again, but it's usually heeling because there is wind pressing on the sail, which is pressing on the mast, which is causing the boat to heel over. There is a force trying to bend the mast, and if that force is greater than the yield strength, I think, yes, the yield strength of the mast, then it will deform and it will be permanently bent, which is what you don't want. The force, which is trying to make the boat go back vertical again, is called the righting moment, and that needs to be always less than a force that will cause the aluminium tube to experience a stress that's greater than its yield strength, I think. I'm not like an engineer or anything like that. I've just done a bit of research, and you normally put a safety factor of 2 in there. So I found a formula for calculating the bending stress on an unstayed aluminium tubular mast, and I kind of worked backwards from the yield strength of the 6061 alloy and figured out what a righting moment for a SCAMP would cause that to bend with a safety factor of 2. Then I used that righting moment on tubes of various diameters and thicknesses for the 6060 T5 alloy, and the criteria for success needed to be as strong as the recommended mast and not more than 8 kilograms. And the only tube which succeeded is an 80mm outside diameter with a 2mm wall thickness. That's like the sweet spot. Well, I didn't try anything over 80mm because it's too big to fit in the boat, but for the range I was investigating, between 60 and 80 millimeters, that 80mm with 2mm wall thickness was really the only combination that gave the appropriate strength and the appropriate weight. And it's going to look a little bit funny because it's not going to be tapered. So it's going to be 80mm the whole way up. So it's going to look a little bit chunky, but this is just my stopgap mast to get back in the water, and I will build a really nice mast out of some really nice wood that I will get from a really nice wood store as soon as I can manage it. So anyway, I found a shop in my city which would sell it to me, and it's like $100, so I'm gonna go get it now. I got my mast. See, it's sticking out the front there, sticking out the back. Well, I got some little flags on there, so should be right. Oh man. We got a bit of vibration going on here. I'm going 80 kilometers an hour. I'm not sure I dare go much faster, even though the speed limit here is about to hit 100. Yeah, just take it slow and steady. Should be right. That's not dodgy at all. Yeah, it's a bit long right now. I have to put it all the way to the back wall, fit it in the garage, and there's a meter cut off it as well. Let's get to it. This is the crux of the matter, the mast stump. Here we have it, broken, in fact, just above the reinforcement I put in. So the reinforcement goes from there up to here. This is forwards here, and it snapped like that way. So we need a new mast, and we need one pronto because I want to go sailing. Summertime is upon us. I'm going to keep these bits because I don't want to make them again. and I've already got the coin in the bottom. So they're all good.
Oh, all fixed. Just get a bit of tape on that and should be right. Just a little bit over 5 meters.
Well, I've got 5.5 on this tube. So I might make it a bit longer. I don't know, maybe 5.10. I feel like it wouldn't hurt being a little bit longer. Okay, there's our 5.1 meter mark. Now if I was smart, I'd cut this at a 2.5 degree angle. So it would match the mast foot thing. But I'm not sure how to do that actually. So I'm just gonna cut it.
Yeah, just a little bit taller. But I don't think that's gonna hurt anything. You can always trim it down afterwards anyway.
Really is like a little foot. Oh, the queen's still there. Did you curse me because I put your face down? Now we need to bring this down to a 76 millimeter diameter to fit in the tube. It's 80 minus 4, yeah. 76. That should fit in the end. Let's see. 75.9. We'll go with that. Alright, that should do it. Let's see if it fits.
That's a lot better. I just need to trim the bottom of this so it matches up nicely. Oh, I think that's a pretty good fit.
Alright, now for the top piece. Okay, that gives us a nice level surface so I can hopefully find my 2.5 degree angle blocks again. Actually quite a nice geometric pattern.
This is why you never throw anything out. Well, it's not one of the exact wedges that I use, but it's one of the offcuts, the opposite sides. So you can see this line is vertical now.
Cool beans. Okay, I cut it out again. I just managed to keep a little sliver on this side so everything stays aligned. Somewhere up here, somewhat like that. Unfortunately this top piece snapped, but got the pin in, so I should just be able to get it in pretty easily. That should be aligned. Yeah. Pole. Aluminium technology. Alright, ready to do some epoxy. Mast foot here, all good, just epoxy on the outside. Plonk it on. The top part of the mast blocking, I've got it marked out where it needs to go, so epoxy and that on there as well. And I didn't show much of the process. This is the plug I made for the top of the mast. I just screwed a few of these planks together and cut it into a square and then eighths, and then got the plane out and planed it. And I forgot to make it a bit longer, so here's a bit which is going to go outside of the mast. On top, just a little wooden cap that I'll just round off just for aesthetic purposes. Oh my god, that's that. Okay, so the mast is all glued up now. The blocking at the bottom, the plug instead of end cap here at the top. And I really hope everything's aligned properly. I got it as close as I can, but if it's even out just a little bit, the pin's going to be a pain in the butt to get in. I probably should have thought about that a bit more, but it'll be fine. There's a little bit of slack, just a tiny bit. It's all good.
Oh, this looks pretty good now. Looks all dried. That's all good.
If I got everything lined, it'll work. If I didn't, that'll be annoying.
Just trimmed it off this corner, a bit off the opposite corner down the bottom. Fits a lot better. Still need to bring a little bit more off this corner, I think. And maybe the hole will line up a little bit easier. Yeah, the mast pin doesn't really line up anymore. Tried drilling it out, but yeah, fuck.
I think I'm gonna have to fill in some of it and re-drill it. How annoying. Okay, well that was arduously sanded down, and it's a pretty domic. Just gotta drill the hole in here for the blocks and things, the halyard blocks to go through. This is the side of the mast, this is the front, and this is the back.
and the wood goes down to here, the wooden plug. I'm going to drill through here-ish. Think it'll be fine. Okay, so the new mast is basically done. Get the old mast step, I guess, in here. And the top bit here wasn't quite aligned, so we had to trim things a little. Yeah, it wasn't quite aligned with this bottom one here, unfortunately. I tried my best, but as a result, the mast pin wouldn't fit in. So I tried to drill that out a little bit to make it fit, but it didn't quite work. So what I had to do was fill in these holes again, and then I'll drill that through again. Then of course we have the flag halyard cleat, and we have this fitting here which boom lift attaches to that, and we go all the way up to the top. We have this little eyelet where the lazy jack attaches to. Then we have our hole going all the way through, which is where we run our line. There we go. In order to attach the halyard. And we've got a nice wooden cap on the top. Wood goes into there, down to about there, solid wood plug. So, you know, that's not going directly into the center of the mast, it's going through wood. I've tried to round off the edges as best I can. I kind of sunk them and then I sanded them, so hopefully there won't be a sharp edge for the line to chafe on. Yeah, and the this bit is flush to the edge. Now all these fittings, well, this is stainless steel. The screws are actually galvanized. Because I was looking up stainless steel reactivity with aluminium, and aluminium doesn't particularly like stainless steel. So the screws and things that you want, not stainless, is much less reactive with aluminium, so it won't cause corrosion. And of course it's bedded down with some sealer. This shouldn't really be touching the aluminium, so hopefully that'll be okay. And with this fitting as well, and with this one, and these actually are treated pine screws, so they're actually covered in some sort of like plastic. Hopefully that should be good. Just got to put a bit of epoxy on the top here and through this hole to just seal that wood up. And we should be good for the new mast. Our old mast took like 2 weeks to make. This new mast I've basically made in 2 days. And should hopefully be plenty strong enough. Guess we'll find out. Get the leather on the top of the mast now. Had to cut a new piece because this is a lot wider at the top than the old mast was. But it's all sewn on now, so that's it. New mast. Done. It fits and it's all good. Now I had a bit of a problem the other day when we launched the boat. Took it out for a first sail with the tiller. I made it nice and long. We had 3 people on the boat. I had to sit further back. So what happened was if I needed to make a course correction or whatever, and I had to sort of turn downwind a little bit, yeah, it would hit me there, and that was as far as I could go. One of these, it's a tiller extension. I'm going to put that somewhere there-ish and trim like that much off the tiller. That's as far back as I can put the tiller extension and still have it be able to fold up. I want to make it as far back as possible because I still want to have like a handspan on the end here and probably trim it off there. Seems a real shame to be cutting such nice wood. We'll find a use for it. Well, that's much shorter. So I'm sitting all the way back here now. I can reach it. So I can even get all the way back here before it starts interfering, and there's plenty of space here for another 2 or 3 people to sit. I don't think I could really realistically sit further back than this. Let's see, when I chuck the tiller extension on, that just sticks straight up, doesn't it? Yeah, I can have control like this. I can just kind of see like this. Maybe I should have got a telescoping one. I can pretty much control it from up here. But I think mostly I'll be sitting down here. Cool. See how that goes. Nice. Well, I just went to IKEA and bought 10 chopping boards. Why would anyone do that, I hear you ask? I like using chopping boards. It's nice, sort of reasonably stiff plastic. Doesn't need any sort of coatings to be completely impervious to rot and all sorts of, you know, things that wood and metal have issues with. It's nice and dense. It's easy to drill and cut. Yeah, it's good for stuff. I've used it in a few places on the boat. It's what make the hatch dogs, and I've used it for some spaces underneath some of the rollers on the trailer.
think that's about it. Oh yeah, and I've used it for a couple of little spaces and things here and there. And it's cheap, $3 for one of these, IKEA. Hopefully I don't find out later that it's actually a bad material to use. I've been using it on and off for years and I like it. Like chopping boards, I always like to have a nice stock of them. Never had 10 before. This is for a special reason. So this is a GPS map 421. It's the Garmin chart plotter. It's the one I had on my old boat. And yeah, the SCAMP doesn't need a chart plotter. And I have a handheld GPS which works just fine. But I've got it, so I may as well do something with it. And I was thinking about ways to mount it on the boat. And I don't really want to cut any holes or anything. And I thought, oh, the hatches are like really a perfect spot, you know, to put stuff on. Just so there you can see them easily from where you sit, and they're at a good height. I don't want to cut a hole in one of my beautiful hatches, but I don't need to. I can just make an alternate hatch that fits in there with whatever on it I want. And that's what the chopping boards are for. Something like that, I guess. Oh, the screws aren't sticking through. That's good. Oh, that looks all right. Pretty good. And these are convenient handles. Well, I need to get a hole for this thing and that thing. Luckily, I found this on the internet. Cool. I just need to get some 12-volt power to this thing. Utility hatches. Oh, I could have a hatch for every purpose. Soldered an XT60 connector onto here so I can use one of my quadcopter batteries. Just test it out. And it's a good connector. Apparently this can take between 10 and 32 volts. And these should be 15.2. Moment of truth. Ooh, look at that. What does it think we are? Oh, it thinks we're the last place that we were, which is, yeah, Denmark. I'm not in Denmark anymore. My God, this time I did everything myself. It's 7:30 at night. I've just got everything rigged and I was like, oh, I'll try to get everything done by 6:30. It took me an hour and 5 minutes from parking to be ready. I gotta optimize this shit. Aluminium Mast for the first time. See how that goes. But what do you know, we did get a sail in after all. And all the things are working. Ridiculous instruments, beautiful sunset. We're not quite high enough on the mast because the halyard has run into the flag. So we got to do something else with the flag. And we're about to get headed. I think we need to tack. 2.8 knots. I think we're just gonna head back in now. It's gonna take me forever to get everything back on the car and I don't want to be here till 10 o'clock at night. But look, we got a sail in. We know it takes an hour to rig everything. Hopefully we can go all the way back into the bay with this wind. But that's the view you want, isn't it?